name is Marsha Chan, and I'm pleased to share with you some effective practices for one-on-one pronunciation feedback for advanced learners of English. Since time is limited, I'd like to let you know in advance that you can find over 2,000 free videos on my Pronunciation Doctor YouTube channel, as well as a few ideas and links to resources on Marsha Professional Development blog. Here I'll present a few ideas and techniques in giving pronunciation feedback to advanced or fairly advanced non-native speakers of English. Among these, I include international teaching assistants, ITAIS, executives in multinational corporations, and professionals who need to interact regularly in business, engineering, or academia with other speakers of English. These speakers are typically educated primarily in the written form of language, but they may not be aware of the factors that affect the spoken language. In my article, Embodied Pronunciation Learning, Research and Practice, which you can find online in the free open access TESOL journal, I summarize research on body language and the incorporation of proprioception, physical movement, and touch in second language education, particularly with regard to the pronunciation of English. It's useful in working with ITAs to help decrease stress and tightness in the body and replace that with a sense of relaxation. This centering allows for new habits to emerge and feel more comfortable in speaking. Helping speakers gain an awareness of their breathing and learn to control it and use it to modulate their production is important and foundational. Besides breathing, exercising the muscles in the face to make them stronger and more flexible is useful in promoting fluency. One approach is to face the learner, and another way is to stand side by side facing a mirror. In person, online, both are possible. In this clip, I'm working with a native speaker of Spanish.
You know, all the stuff you do for running and jumping and stuff, maybe that's not your end goal, but it will help you in moving and maneuvering, doing all those moves that you need to do at the time you need to do them. All right, now let's go to the side to side. Hold an accent, which is more relaxed. Okay, so there's a lot more relaxation in the lips. So if you look at the T sound and the D sound, I also, for the L sound, put the tongue on the gum ridge here, not down here, not down here, but here on the gum ridge. So feel the feel your gum ridge. Okay, let's just say la, 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 la. Okay, face me.
Doing these pronunciation workouts helps speakers activate muscular components relevant to making adjustments in their speech. They gain a proprioceptive sense of where the articulators are in relation to each other. In my pronunciation workout playlist are numerous clips for breathing, stretch the jaw, the lips, and the tongue, doing tongue waggles and lip trills.
Pull it. Oh yeah. Okay, keep your nose. I'll do a little more. Take your lips and your fingers and kind of stretch them out.
For sounds made by articulators that are visible, having students look closely at me or another model is effective. For example, here I'm demonstrating the labial dental fricative V with a semi-vowel W and asking a native speaker of Russian to self-monitor by looking in a handheld mirror and pronouncing sentences like, "I'm very wary of Victor." When you're looking at yourself in your camera, say, let's just say Victor. Victor. Victor.
Victor.
Good. And you don't need to make it so hard with the teeth on the against the lip. Victor. It doesn't have to be that hard.
Okay.
All right. Make it a little bit lighter. Victor.
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 But I do want you to sort of like
exaggerate a little bit for the vibration. So I want you to start feeling, so you have that sensation of what it's going to be like later on when you start tapering off on that. So now say Victor.
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 Because some points of articulation are not visible, it's helpful to expose my own body, say my throat, touch it with my fingers to feel the movement inside, and have the student do the same. It's also important to research, to learn about the characteristics of the individual primary language. In this example, I'm explaining the 6 phonemic stops in English to a native speaker of Vietnamese. And I demonstrate how the glottal stop, which is very common in Vietnamese, can impede a listener's understanding of English unless she learns to feel and control the glottis.
Now, the one that it doesn't belong to the phonemic system of English is the glottal stop, which is part of Vietnamese. So you have this in your language,
Yes.
the glottal stop. And you may not notice or call it the glottal stop, but what is happening in your throat inside here is something called the glottis. And when the glottis constricts, it stops the air. So, for example, when I say it's different than if I say right? Okay, can I have your hand? Put your hand on my throat. Okay, put your hand on my throat. Feel the difference when I say it's just vibrating, right?
Yes.
Okay, now watch me. And feel. So can you feel the constriction?
Constriction, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is I'm
constriction,
closing. I'm closing my glottis like that.
Yes.
Okay, let me hear you say Good. Now say
So the doctor do the constriction, yeah.
Okay. So sometimes we use the glottal stop in English.
To help students with word stress and intonation, I do what I call the stress stretch. I stand up on the stressed syllable, elongating the vowel and speaking that syllable on a higher pitch. When students are coached to do the stress stretch as they speak, assessment of misstressed words or syllables is readily evident and can lead to immediate repair. Here, I'm working with a native speaker of French.
In English. There's a really big difference between stressed syllables and unstressed syllables. People don't notice that because it's not in writing.
I see.
Right? So whenever you write words, they're just letters.
Sure.
And all the letters, that's what they make sounds. And the sounds, the vowels and consonants are what we call segmentals. But the suprasegmentals, the things that are over them, those are the music.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to change. Twice. Bridges. Bridges. Okay, before you go any farther, do you feel that when you're going up, your vowel is getting longer?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right?
Students make digital recordings, which I import into Audacity, a free, open-source, cross-platform software for recording and editing sounds. One of the many ways to use it is to show speakers visually what their auditory voice looks like in terms of volume, stress, rhythm, phrasing, and fluency. It helps to compare a student's recording with a recording of the same sentence by a native speaker. Another way to use Audacity is to record models of speech and add silence or pauses between phrases so that students can practice by repeating. Yet another way is to import the student's recording on track 1, listen to it analytically and take notes on the strengths and weaknesses, and then record on track 2 a more accurate or more intelligible version of the student's speech. This may include clearer vowels and consonants, correctly stressed words and phrases, words grouped together in more logical thought groups, pauses in different places, or speed and volume changes For greater effectiveness, after receiving the edited sound file, the student can listen to the original in the left earphone, alternately with your rendition in the right earphone. She starts doing her exercises as the two versions simultaneously. I hope these tips and techniques help English language teachers guide pronunciation improvement in one-on-one instruction. For more information and practice lessons, check out Pronunciation Doctor on YouTube and my blog. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for all the resources you have available on your YouTube channel, your blog. In your video, you gave us so many good ideas in such a short time. And in the videos, you seem to be interacting with the students in person when you're working with them. So I was wondering what kinds of adaptations you've had to make for using some of those techniques in a remote meeting.
Oh, that's a great question, because now so many of us are working over the remote videos. I think it's a lot easier. In fact, you know, like in a real classroom, in order to get students to be really close, you have to overcome a certain amount of, for some, shyness, some sorts of barriers about being physically close to someone. I mean, like it takes a lot of time to develop a bonding so that somebody will actually touch the teacher's throat, right? That is, you know, that's an unusual kind of thing. Sometimes they're far away, 30 feet away. But when you're on video, you can get really close. And if you really want them to see your throat, you just move close to your camera and they do the same thing. So there are a lot of things we can do with pronunciation and the video camera that are even better in this kind of a situation. So I would say that, you know, just being able to have the ability in your workspace to move around freely, have really good lighting on you so that they can see the parts of your vocal apparatus that you're trying to point out is very beneficial, more so than in person. And, you know, no bad breath.